focus this year has been on writing. And as I've discussed before, we kind of went from not having a document to monitor what writing workshop looks like. And so the two things I've been focusing on is monitoring writing workshop, but providing the professional learning that goes along with it. And you can take a look at the data. You can see that the walkthroughs are challenging with writing because I was frustrated because everybody else's numbers were so much higher than mine in writing. And this aha hit me of writing happens almost at the same time in most of the rooms, so it limits when I can go in. And so with PGES and summits and things, that's the goal that I have for next year, though, is increasing being in the classrooms during the writing workshop time. The great thing that has happened, though, is workshops not just happening in writing. And so trying to figure out how to mesh the two. Right now it's very specific to writing, but workshop happens across the board in all subject areas, and that's definitely a growth piece. But the piece I really want to share with you today is last week when we did our professional learning at Simpsonville, I shared my data for the first time looking at the graph, and then we did a breakdown of the writing walkthrough document piece again. And I allowed the teachers time to reflect. And the question was, they worked first in vertical teams, and they just discussed what they had learned this year. And the question was, what have you learned about best practices in writing instruction over the course of this year that you will use in the future? So we're looking ahead to next year as we take a look at our writing processes, which will then lead our professional learning opportunities for the 2014-2015 school year. But this is what teachers say, and these are quotes. I need to model daily. Children need to see what good writing models look like. Model loving the writing. And so they understand it's not just about a process of teaching kids, but they have to take that passion and show it to the students. I've got to scaffold those mini lessons. I need to provide longer blocks of time for writing. So students need ample time to write. The more kids write, the better writers they become. Writing is needed every day to make growth. Give students time to write. And then we began, as the data showed in January, that we were missing the reflection time. And I told teachers it could be the time I was coming in to gather the information. If I'm always coming at the beginning of writing workshop, I'm not going to see the reflection. And so we changed just not seeing, not meaning that it wasn't there. It just wasn't when I was there. And so the biggest piece for me is reflection is key for all learning. And so when we're focusing on just the writing workshop and those pieces, it's grown from just writing to what we see every day in all subject areas. Reflection about writing skills, not just content. Applying the reflection directly to their piece more intentionally helps students make adjustments. It's about the timing. Having time for students to reflect on their pieces by using a scoring guide created from their own words and thoughts. So then we come to that success criteria piece. So next year, through this reflection piece on Tuesday, we are setting the course for where we're going with this. My pop's not going away. I told you all, I think last time, that writing was going to continue. It will continue because the teachers' data and my data have shown that we've got to stay going in order to make sure that we are teaching students to write in all subject areas, and that it's not just about a process, but it's about learning how to be writers in all content areas. So that's what I have. Oh, this is the very last quote. Student choice is very important. Giving students the chance to choose has given them more confidence. And so thinking about that practice of my own, giving teachers the choice in this process and how they've taken it and applied it into other areas is where we're definitely growing at Simpsonville. And our data is showing we're steadily increasing. The other piece of the puzzle is that we have got to look at, right now they're just submitting writing samples. And all year long I've struggled with what is the best way, what's the best data to get from them. In my mind, I think, well, if you're teaching a strong writer and you're teaching the writing process and you're teaching kids to reflect, then it should be reflected in everything. It shouldn't just be one specific ORQ or on demand or personal writing or opinion writing. However, the more I've dug into the research, I need more of a common summative, a common form to get. And so we purchased Lucy Calkins at the beginning of the year, as many of our elementary schools did. And through our learning and digging into the work with Lucy Calkins, we've learned that there are on demand at each grade level. So next year, the hope will be, the plan will be that the teachers will be submitting to me not just random writing, but it will be based on what's provided within Lucy Calkins, which then in turn is coming out in our writing development within our units. So that's going to give us even a more specific focus on how we're measuring whether or not our students are growing in the writing process. That's it.